On the outside, you might seem fine, but inside, it feels like something's missing. You go through the motions, do what's expected, and still you don't feel free. You're stuck in habits, emotions, fears you can't seem to shake. You long for peace, for lightness, for wholeness, but something always feels just out of reach. If any part of that speaks to you, pause for a moment, because now you're going to hear the words of Yogananda, words that don't just speak to the mind but to the soul, words that might just be the beginning of your true freedom. Having long been accustomed to living in the body, we have forgotten what true freedom really means. It is vital for every human being to discover their soul and come to know their immortal nature. Many people believe that anything that enters their mind can be done, and they call that freedom. But true freedom is doing what you ought to do when you ought to do it. Otherwise, you are a slave. Be moved only by wisdom. The soul is bound to the body by chains of desires, temptations, struggles and worries, and it is trying to break free. If you keep pulling strongly on the chain that ties you to mortal consciousness, one day, a divine invisible hand will intervene and break it, and you will be free. True freedom exists only in God. Therefore, strive earnestly to establish contact with Him through meditation, morning and night, and also throughout the day in every task and duty you perform. When you are young, you may feel you can conquer the world. But as you grow older, that feeling fades. Day after day, you begin to see that you are a slave to your surroundings and your habits. Instead, you must affirm each day, I am the conqueror of all. I may die, but I will die free. I will not remain behind the bars of bad habits or fate. Freedom will come if you meditate daily and strengthen your willpower. You were the one who built the prison. You forged the bars, and so you must be the one to break them. Be a fugitive. Escape the prison of the flesh. Break out of every cell of bad habits, attachments, emotions, desires, life and death. The bars of the prison in which your soul is held can be sawed through with the blade of wisdom. The more you use the saw of meditation, the freer you will become. If, while listening to Yogananda's words, something stirred quietly within you, a longing, a recognition, a sense that he was speaking not just to your mind, but to your soul, then this message is for you. Because now you're going to hear a deeper reflection on his words, one that will help you understand how they apply to your own life and how they can guide you toward real inner freedom. You were not born to be a prisoner of the body. You were born to be free. So many of us live our entire lives without ever questioning the invisible chains that bind us. We wake up, go through our routines, make decisions, pursue dreams, and yet deep down there's often a persistent, subtle discomfort, a restlessness, a quiet ache that whispers, there must be more to life than this. And that whisper is not wrong, because as Yogananda reminds us, we have lived so long within the body that we have forgotten the soul. We've become so deeply entangled in the world, its pleasures, its pain, its noise, that the deeper truth of who we are has been buried beneath layers of habit, fear, and conditioning. But the soul has not forgotten. The soul always remembers. It remembers its home. It remembers its freedom. It remembers God. Many of us have been taught to equate freedom with choice. If I can go where I want, do what I want, and express my thoughts, then I am free. Right? But what happens when you can't stop checking your phone? What happens when you keep going back to the same toxic relationship? What happens when you know something is hurting you but you can't let it go? That's not freedom. That's enslavement. Enslavement to impulse, to emotion, to ego. Yogananda said that true freedom is doing what you ought to do, when you ought to do it. That is the freedom of the soul, not the freedom of indulgence, but the freedom of mastery. Not the freedom to obey every craving, but the freedom to rise above them. The soul is not wild, it is wise. And to live in harmony with it, you must first hear it. Yogananda paints a powerful image. The soul is chained to the body by desires, temptations, worries, and hardships. It's not a punishment, it's part of the spiritual journey. Because in those struggles lies the possibility of awakening. Every pull of that chain is a chance to choose the soul over the senses. Every challenge is a silent invitation to return home. But here's the part that touches me deeply. He says, if you keep pulling with strength on this chain, one day a divine hand will intervene and break it. That's grace. That's what happens when your effort meets divine love. Your longing becomes prayer. Your prayer becomes power. And that power meets God, but it begins with you, with your willingness to break the trance of the outer world and seek the truth of your inner world. Yogananda's guidance is clear. Meditate in the morning, in the evening, and in the midst of your daily life. Meditation isn't just about peace, it's about power. It's how you soar through the bars of your inner prison. It's how you remember who you are. Each time you sit in silence, even for 5 minutes, and pull your awareness away from the chaos of the world and toward the stillness of your spirit, you're making a small break in the chain. Each time you observe a desire instead of acting on it, you weaken the hold of karma. Each time you choose love over ego, forgiveness over bitterness, trust over control, you are stepping into the soul's freedom. Freedom doesn't come all at once. It comes in moments, and then one day, it becomes your state of being. Yogananda speaks to something so universally human. When we're young, we feel invincible. We believe we can do anything, have anything, be anything. That fire in us is not wrong, it's sacred. But if we don't channel it inward, it turns outward into restless chasing, into the illusion that the world will complete us, and then life teaches us otherwise. Age doesn't just bring wrinkles, it brings wisdom. It shows us where we've given our power away, where we've been living on autopilot, where we've been led by fear disguised as desire. But instead of feeling defeated, Yogananda urges us to rise, to say with conviction, I may die, but I will die free. I will not remain behind the bars of bad habits and fate. This is not denial of suffering. This is rebellion against spiritual ignorance. This is the voice of the soul waking up. There's such accountability in Yogananda's message. He doesn't blame the world or karma or past lives. He tells us the truth. You built the prison. Now you must break it. At first that may sound harsh, but in truth it is deeply empowering. Because if you are the one who created the pattern, you are also the one who can dissolve it. If you are the one who surrendered to the habit, you are also the one who can reclaim your will. And your will is not weak. It may be dormant, but it is divine. To escape the prison of the flesh is not to reject the body, but to remember that you are not only the body. You are not your pain, You are not your past. You are not your name, your status, your fears, or your roles. You are the soul behind it all, the observer, the witness, the light. And every time you remember this truth, you loosen the grip of Maya, the illusion. You become a little less reactive, a little more peaceful, a little more free, and eventually, you don't just live from the soul, you live as the soul. Yogananda gives us a beautiful image. The bars of your inner prison can be sawed through with the blade of wisdom. And where is that wisdom found? In meditation, in self-awareness, in silence, in the quiet remembrance that you are eternal, even as everything around you changes. Meditation is not a ritual, it is not a trend, it is your revolution. Each breath inward is a breath toward God. Each moment of stillness is a step toward your true self. Each practice is a preparation for freedom. So if you felt stuck, tired, or uncertain, if you've been haunted by the feeling that you're meant for something more, but can't name it yet, if you've lived for others, obeyed fear, or followed the crowd, this message is for you. You are not here to survive in a cage. You are here to remember your wings. You are here to break the illusion, to reclaim your power, and to walk, not as a body chasing purpose, but as a soul embodying freedom. And you are not alone. Yogananda's words are not philosophy. They are keys to your heart, to your awakening, to the divine within you. So meditate, practice, trust. The divine hand will meet your effort, and when it does, you will know what it means to be truly, eternally free.